This is Katie Shaw, and Mrs. Shaw may well be one of the most generous realtors in Georgia. Since 2018 alone, Katie Shaw has saved Georgia families nearly $500,000 on their real estate transactions. Yes, you heard right. She has saved buyers, sellers, and renters in the metro Atlanta area almost $500,000. First of all, allow me to tell you how she's literally saved buyers thousands upon thousands of dollars. If you're a home buyer and you bless Katie Shaw with your business, she'll save you up to 50% on your closing costs. She appreciates your business so much that she'll sacrifice thousands of dollars in commission that's paid to her by the seller and generously contribute to your closing cost fees. This appreciative act by Katie will keep thousands of dollars in your pocket at the closing table. But that's not all. Qualified buyers have the incredible opportunity to purchase a home with zero down payment, zero closing costs, and zero mortgage insurance, regardless of your credit score. There are some conditions and restrictions for this niche buying opportunity, so please call Katie for more details. Buyers, Katie Shaw is here to make your dream of homeownership a reality while saving you multiple thousands of dollars. Now, let's shift our attention to home sellers. She loves to bless home sellers too. When you choose Katie Shaw as your trusted real estate agent, she will sell your property at 50% and up to 66% off typical realtor listing fees. This benevolent gesture also saves sellers thousands of dollars, allowing home sellers to keep much more of their well-deserved equity. Katie's expertise will accurately assess the maximum value of your home. This, in conjunction with her reduced realtor fees, will help maximize your profits. Lastly, even renters can experience the perks of working with Katie. Partnering with one of her preferred rent-to-own companies, Katie Shaw provides several hours of complimentary professional movers. This extraordinary offer translates into savings of $2,000. Say goodbye to unnecessary expenses and hello to a stress-free move. In closing, rest assured that Katie Shaw is not just a generous and money-saving realtor. She's a productive and highly experienced professional with a full-time real estate career spanning 20 years. Katie has successfully closed over 100 homes and has exceeded $30 million in real estate transactions in the last 5 years alone. When it comes to real estate, experience matters, and Katie Shaw has it in abundance. So, if you need an experienced and licensed real estate agent that guarantees to save your family thousands of dollars, don't wait. Call Kate. I'll say it again. Don't wait. Call Kate.
You guys have asked so many questions about the program that I want to make sure that I can be transparent with you and tell you all about the process and debunk some of the myths that you think are going on and who it's for and who's eligible. And I am trying to put out enough education to help you buy your home with confidence, no matter what loan package you want to use, no matter what financial situation you're in. I'm hoping to provide tips that can help you get through that process. I mean, this program is amazing. It's no down payment, no closing costs, no points, no fees, and one of the lowest interest rates in the country. So I wanted to be able to come to you all and tell you all about the program and how it works and who's eligible. So I want to be able to teach you all about the process and how you can jump right into that. So first of all, you do not have to be a first-time home buyer, but you cannot own a home at the same time. So if you own one right now, you would have to sell that one or refinance into someone else's name because you cannot own another property when you close. Next, you have to occupy the property as your primary residence. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to. So you can't own it as an investment property unless you're considering a multi-unit property, which that's a possibility, and you can be a landlord. And I want to tell you a little bit more about that, probably in another video though. So the other thing is that you have to sign a $25,000 security agreement. And for the first 5 years that you own the home, you are forgiven for $5,000 of that. So after 5 years, you're forgiven. But if you were to sell the home anytime within that 5-year time frame, you owe a portion of that $25,000 back to the program so that they can put that back in and be able to fund it for other people. Now, you also have to put in volunteer hours. You have to do 5 activities per year. You have to be a registered voter doing this wonderful program with no down payment, no closing costs, no points, no fees, and the lowest interest rate in the country right now. So I think it's important that you give back in some way, whether it's volunteering or being a part of this committee. So when you go through the program, it breaks you up into priority members and non-priority members. So a priority member is someone that falls below the median income for their area that they're in. So if that's you and you're low or moderate income, you fall within that category. Now they also have non-priority members, which are those that make above the median income. I mean, I have people that are making 6 figures that are able to go through the program. So if you make above that, you are considered a non-priority member, but you can still buy through the program. Now, in order to qualify, there are requirements. There's no credit score requirement, which is really awesome. It doesn't matter what your credit score is, but you do have to have at least 2 years of on-time payment history, stable income, and tax returns. And you have to have 12 months of on-time rent payments and a savings of your payment shock. And what they mean by that is, for instance, if you right now have a rent payment of $1,000 and the house that you're looking at buying has a mortgage payment of $1,500, that gap between $1,000 and $1,500 is $500, and that's your payment shock. So they are sure that you're ready for that payment shock. And the other thing is you have to have some minimum required funds. No down payment, no closing costs, no points, no fees, but you still have to have some money. So you need homeowners insurance, prepaid taxes, escrow reserves, and some inspection funds. So for instance, the client that I'm currently working with is pre-approved for $350,000, somewhere in there, and she'd need to bring $3,000 to closing, which is amazing compared to what it would be through the normal process with an FHA loan. Usually you're looking at about 8% with down payment and closing costs. This is the best interest rate that you can get on any mortgage. I mean, the best. You don't have to have perfect credit again. There's no down payment, no closing costs, no PMI, no appraisal fees, none of that stuff. And you are allowed to put renovation or repair costs into your loan if you wanted to. So say for instance, you buy a property that needs a little fixing up. You are allowed to get a loan for 110% of the value of the property in order to renovate. So for instance, if you buy a home that's $300,000, you can get a loan for up to $330,000 and use that $30,000 to renovate the property in whatever way. Now, it can't be unsafe. The property has to be structurally sound, but you can still use that extra money to renovate in any way that you want to. So this is a really cool program for those that want to buy kind of like fixer-uppers. Literally, if you're ready to buy a home, this is definitely a program that you should look into if you're interested in saving some money, because at the end of the day, you want to keep all the money that you can to invest again, right? Like, why pay so much money down when you could use that for something else? So that's it. That's all the mortgage eligibility requirements for this program. I hope this was helpful for you.
We're going to discuss everything from how to get approved all the way down to what properties you can buy that allows you to purchase a home without having down payment, closing costs, or without paying mortgage insurance on that loan. And so the type of properties you can purchase with this program are condos, townhomes, single-family homes. You can even purchase multi-family homes up to 4 units. And they're going to go over the entire program so you'll know everything about the home buying process, a little bit of financial literacy, everything you need to know about purchasing a home and keeping your home, you'll learn in this workshop. And so you definitely have to start there. And so once you do that, then you can move on to the next step, which is going to be receiving your ID number, logging into the portal, uploading all your documents, income documents, everything they ask for in the portal. You upload that stuff before you set your appointment with your counselor. Now, this intake session with your counselor is where you're going to meet your counselor and they're going to go over all of the documents that you submit. And with those documents, they're going to basically see where you at. And so you have to have 2 years of I wouldn't say good payment history or whatnot, especially for the second year. So you could have some mishaps in your second year, but you're gonna have to have a letter of explanation for everything that was late, everything that was missed during that 12 to 24 month period. But for the most recent 12 months, they want to make sure that you have a perfect payment history. So just know that going in, if you've missed anything within the last few months or whatnot, then your time clock, you're gonna need 12 months of clean payment history in order to get approved for the next step to get qualified. So just know that going into it, that kind of dictates the timetable of how the program is going to work for you. Your payment history, not necessarily your credit score. They don't really take your actual score into account. They just look at your ability to pay and how you pay on time. So everything that's reported on your credit, that's what they're looking at. They're looking to make sure you're paying on time and you have the ability to save. So once you meet with your counselor, they'll go over all those documents with you. Make sure you upload the most recent documents. They need the most recent documents every time. So I would just make that a force of habit. Every Friday, I would just upload fresh documents. Even if you haven't got paid again, I would just make it a force of habit. Every Friday, just upload fresh documents, fresh documents, fresh documents, so they're already there. And once you get through this part, you move on to the next phase. This is where you're gonna basically get your pre-qualification. Once you get your pre-qualification, you're gonna get your affordability letter, your pre-qualification letter. That's gonna let you know how much you can afford, how much they're gonna approve you for, and they'll go over the home buying process again. And so once you get through that counseling session, now you basically have your pre-approval letter, and now we can go home shopping. We could kind of identify the property that you want. Once we identify that property for you, we put in an offer. We make sure that that home is basically going to be a good home for you. We're going to negotiate everything in your favor to make sure that we're getting you the best possible deal for that home. And once we get that home under contract, we also have to make sure that there's some things set in place in that contract to kind of protect you. You know, we're going to make sure that we have to get an appraisal done, an inspection done. So if things come up in the inspection, we have to get those things addressed before we move on. If the appraisal comes back bad, we have to get that stuff addressed before we moved on. So we put all that stuff in the contract to protect you, to make sure that we're going to get the best possible deal for you at the end of the day. And so once we get the house in the contract, of course, we have to get the house inspected. We're going to get an inspection report. Everything that comes back wrong with the house, we're either going to try to get the sellers to fix it, or you could actually finance the repairs on the house. So just know that that stuff can be taken care of. So it doesn't have to be a perfect home. We just want to make sure it's the perfect home for you. And so once the inspection comes back, of course, now that we move on, and we have to get the house appraised. Once the house gets appraised, if everything comes back good, and throughout this process, you know, next step is going to be, you know, them going over your documents again. But throughout the process, like I said, every Friday, make it a habit to submit your new documents, because you don't want to get to the appraisal part of this process and then they go over your documents and, you know, something happened, something changed. So you want to make sure that everything is staying consistent. You're consistently working, you're consistently saving, and you're not doing anything drastic to your profile, because anything that draws a red flag to them, they'll pull the trigger on this and they'll shut this whole thing down, right? So we want to make sure that you're staying consistent. If we give you an approval, whatever you did to get that approval, you don't do anything different. Once you get the house, you know, you can kind of, you know, relax a little bit, but until you close on the home, make sure you don't do anything drastic. So once we submit the documents, refresh the documents, and they go over your documents again, they give you the okay to go ahead, clear to close. The next step, we're going to go through a final walkthrough. The final walkthrough is basically we're going to go to the house probably the day before, maybe the morning of, and we'll go through the house and we'll make sure everything that we saw that was a problem, that was supposed to be addressed, was either fixed by the seller, or it was addressed, you know, as far as credits towards closing, where we're going to get that stuff repaired after we close on the home. But we'll do a final walkthrough and make sure that everything is okay with the house. And once we approve the final walkthrough, and we'll close on the house and you'll get the keys to your new home. And so after you close on the home, of course, there's some follow-up counseling sessions that you can do, financial literacy. So, you know, there's some other little minute details about the program, but for the most part, that's how the program works. So